Hello, my name is Marshall Jack. I'm Native American from the western United States. My affiliation, or my tribal affiliation, is with the Paiutes. My father was Paiute and my mother was Washoe. Our nations come around in the areas of Yosemite and Lake Tahoe. I come here just to share some information that we felt the need to share. It's what we call the Mother Earth language. And we're all looking for better ways to share information of how to start healing the Mother Earth and getting out of the destruction pattern. When I was a small child, I was grown up in an environment where the Native American people still lived off of the Mother Earth. What we mean by this is that we understood how to take and give back to this earth. How do the animals give to us, and how do we give back to the animals? How do we give back to the plants as they give their lives to us, along with the waters and everything else? There's a deep understanding that everything that lives upon this earth is an extension of what we understand as an extended family. The plant nation is a family that may be different from the human families, but they still are families. They still have what we understand as a heartbeat. They still have eyes and ears and a brain, but not as we understand it because of their form. But they still understand how to live. And that life form is what teaches us how to live amongst all of the plant nations. Along with the animal nations, is that we understand that they have a job to do here on this earth, just like us humans. And so these are the teachings of what we call the Mother Earth teachings, is that we sit with the Mother Earth's vibration and we understand how to communicate with the plant nation, the animal nation, the water nations, everything that lives in water, everything lives in the sky, everything that gives us sunlight. Why does it give us sunlight? So it's a different kind of a science. It's not a science of words or discovery. We just know within our hearts how to take care of things. And so we were always taught never to destroy this earth, because this earth is what takes care of us. And so in essence, we were always taught in our Native American ways to offer healing to the Mother Earth wherever she needed healing, and she would respect our ways, our heart, if you will, and she would give her heart back to us. And so we understood that if we damaged her heart, say like for example, if we took the plant nation and we destroyed the hearts of the plants, there would be maybe a retribution in a way, because we dishonored that family. And it's just like what we are doing to ourselves in the human way, is when we destroy families, if you will, it's a little bit more exponential impact because of the human factor. But if you can relay that to what we are doing to the rest of the planet, is that if you can imagine the plant nation as humans, or the animal nations as humans, we would stop doing what we're doing to them, because they are families just like us. And so these are the ways of the Native American philosophies, or the Native American teachings, that derived from the Mother Earth teachings. And so the more we understand how the Mother Earth works, the more we are prepared to defend her, to stop the annihilation of all of these family units. Because we know they have a purpose here on this earth. They have a job to do just like we do. And when we interfere with their jobs and their mission statement, if you will, then we all suffer because of that. All they're asking for is a little recognition for their lives, just like us. They're looking for love, we're looking for love. Everything that is alive is looking for love. And so these are the bases of the Native American teachings, or what we call the Mother Earth teachings. We want to find that love. How do we give love back to the plants and the animals that give us everything freely? The Mother Earth does not accept a thing called money. She never has and never will. She gives everything to us freely. And so we honor that it's a gift that gives us strength, allows us to live upon this earth amongst all living things. So we create ceremonies. They're ceremonies of vibration. There's an old ancient teaching that came to the lands. It wasn't a teaching of words. It was a teaching of vibrations and frequencies. It was a language that had no words to it, just sounds and what we call in today's world crystalline energy or electrical kinetic energies, quantum energies, all of those put together in one form. And that one form is right here. It's in our heart. It's a vibration that we receive and we give. This is what we understand as the original language. It was a language of heart to heart. Our heart to an animal's heart, or our heart to a plant's heart, or our heart to the water's heart, or the fish's heart, or whatever that living being is. It's heart to heart recognition that we recognize that we both have a life form. So as we go along understanding this phenomena, if you will, or this science, if you will, or whatever we want to call it, it's a heart energy. Pure heart energy. Has nothing to do with an ego mind, words, or conceptions, or preceptions. It's an actual heart energy. The vibrations in our heart is what heals any living thing that has ever been created. When we identify its heart, it identifies our heart, and we see where its heart is hurting or what it needs help with. Again, it's not a perception, it's a feeling. And so we look into the essence. Say, for example, if a tree is lacking water, we don't see that with our mind as words. We see this energy form that it is lacking this substance, H2O. And so we find in the soil, where is this water that it's seeking? And so we channel an energy field down to the water source. And we ask that energy of water come up to the roots and go up through that system to replenish what is needed in this particular tree. So there are many ways to understand this healing process, and one of the major things that we are doing around the world as indigenous people is to bring a love back to our hearts, so that love energy can reciprocate back out of us naturally, like a harmonic balance, if you will. So we're creating ceremonies to lessen the pain that's in our hearts. We are trying to get people to understand the more that we take away from our heart that doesn't belong there, the negative element, the more love our heart can exponentially resonate out here, like a ripple on a pond. And so what causes the pain and the suffering in our heart is the images that we receive through our eyes. If it's a negative energy, it goes directly to our heart. If we hear of something that's negative, that vibration of negativity goes right to our heart. The more we are influenced by the negative element, the more of that negative resonates from us. This is what we're trying to stop. As we see history progress in time, is that we are stuck in a revolving door. We create a pattern, and we call it the pattern of the seasons. What we do in the fall time to prepare for the winter, what we do in the winter to prepare for the spring, what we do in the springtime to prepare for summer, so on and so forth, is that we create a pattern of existence. There are certain things that we do every year repetitively. With the negative thoughts, when we carry this from one year to the next, the negative thoughts are always there to greet us, because that's what we've conditioned ourselves to do. So we're calling this breaking of the arrow, breaking our old habits, our old patterns of destruction, recreate a pattern of love energy. We identify if there's a negative form out there, we need to break that energy within our minds so that our hearts can truly receive that love. This is what we call karma. We understand that through the ancient ages is that in that first world of creation of our kind, the humankind, we can see where the karma developed and where it overlaid into the second world, the third world, and now into this fourth world. What we are trying to do is to stop this karmic overlay from going into this fifth world, this new golden age. And so this is what we're promoting out there right now, to release as much of this negative energy away from our minds, away from our hearts, so we don't carry it on into this next world. So it's very important that I think we all understand this, that we can do it, but we have to do it together in our own way. There is no right way or wrong way. The only way is for us to understand is that we need to relieve the negative issues within our body structure. The elders say it this way, is that if we have any conflict with creation, remove the conflict. If we have a conflict between our brothers or sisters or whatever else it is, remove that conflict. Simple as that. Very, very basic teachings, but it's very, very profound too, because if you can imagine, we have, what, maybe 7 billion people on this planet right now, 6.5 to 7 billion people? If we can get all of those people to relieve themselves of this negative karma, if you will, the negative thoughts, of how powerful that would be. We would eliminate wars, we would eliminate poverty, we would eliminate our need for fossil fuels, on and on and on and on. So if you can imagine, by just us as an individual releasing all of those fears, especially with the women, the enslavement processes that happened to them over the years, on and on and on. Find a way to release that negative energy out of your body, out of your soul, and then your heart will begin to grow with love. That negative element is like a net over our heart. We need to dissolve that net. Let it go to its place, get it off of this planet so it doesn't return again. There are many, many more teachings that we bring to light, and that's with our ceremonies. Every ceremony that we do is that we are trying to find the love element in that ceremony. Where is the energy of love? So collectively, looking at the people coming to our ceremonies, we can look at the chakra systems, we can look at the ley lines and whatever they're bringing into that ceremony, and we're asking the ancestors, all of our ancestors, collectively working with each other to find a common denominator of that love. How can we bring this energy together for every individual that comes to the ceremony, provide an energy field, working with crystals or working with a medicine wheel, working with sacred dances or whatever, is that we look around, try to find the energy fields, bring it in, and distribute it to the people that's in the ceremonies. Distribute out that love so that they can release their negative element in the fires of the ceremony, if you will, or whatever avenue that we've provided for them to do that. So every ceremony that we produce is a ceremony of love. That's the main factor. A small explanation of the ceremonies that we produce, of how the energy is produced. Say, for example, this feather here. Okay, to a lot of people, it's just a dead bird's feather that we put on a piece of leather or whatever. But to us, this is an energy field. It will harness energy. Say, for example, if I'm releasing an energy right now, a negative thought, if you will, that negative thought is an energy. We can't really see it, but we know it's being released from us. And what we do with these sacred items like this is that we harness that energy away from us, and then we throw it. We throw it off of this universe. So these are what we call sacred item tools, because what we don't want to do many times is we don't want to use our hands, because if our hands connect with that negative element again, it's going to go right back into our system, even if we try to shake it off. Sometimes we can do that with other means like the sages or whatever, but these sacred tools are a helper to release the energy off of ourselves or another person or another plant or an animal or whatever. And so when you see Native American people using feathers, that's what these represent, is collecting the negative energy and relieving it and putting it someplace else. So these are very, very powerful tools. And again, like I say, we don't really actually need these to do that, but we need a form of protection around our physical hands so we don't absorb that energy through our physical bodies. So this is one example of how we use our sacred items. So we look for a common denominator of all of the heartbeats that are in the ceremony, and we find it through our hand. We can feel the energy of the people, of the ancestors, and we find that common energy of all of our hearts beating as one with the Mother Earth and with all of the plants and the animals and all living things. And so as we find this energy in ourselves, we look amongst the people and everything that is in our environment, and we try to find a heartbeat. It's a heartbeat that we all can recognize, all living things. And so as I'm talking to you now, I'm collectively gathering all of the ancestors that are looking at this video right now, and I'm saying, okay, where is the common heartbeat amongst everybody that's listening to this right now? And so I go deep into my thoughts and I feel the energy of the people, of you looking at this video right now, looking at your ancestors, calling them forward to where I'm at right now. Everybody in this building that we're in, collectively, the plants and the animals that are in this particular area, and I find that energy in my own heart, and then I release it through my hand. And so that releasement kind of sounds like a heartbeat. And so when I feel the energy of you or the people here in the surrounding area, sometimes the energy works through my hand a little bit, trying to search for that bigger picture, that bigger heart, if you will, of all of us combined together. And so now it sounds something like this. Very, very strong energy. So the drums represent the energy that's being collected. The stronger they become, that means there's more energy there for the drummers to work with. If there's a low vibration, a low energy, maybe too much negative or whatever, it might sound something like this. Very low vibration. It doesn't create any stimulus, any energy for anybody. It's a really, really silent heartbeat. For me, a heartbeat like that is very, very sad. It needs some healing and needs some energy. And so I collectively look out there. Where is the energy at? Where can we get this moving? And so as I collect it more and more and more, and I feel it in my own body, then I resonate back out. This is one form of energy that we use that is very, very powerful, because it resonates with our own heart and all of the hearts of the plants and the animals, the Mother Earth, everything that is in a living form. So these are one ways that we use energies in our ceremonies. As we come along, we have skilled engineers, if you will, that produces a sound like this. There are many different sounds to the drum. The original drum, the first drum that we ever had on this planet, it wasn't in any physical form like this. It came from our heart. That was our first drum. When a woman had her baby, placed the baby upon her chest, that baby heard that heartbeat. That was the first drum. And so as we continued on, we wanted to emulate that heartbeat for our children. And so we started to create. The first drum that I ever went to sleep by was what we call a Mother Earth drum. It didn't have anything to do with any qualities like this drum here. It was an actual stick that was put upon the Mother Earth. I remember my grandmothers, they would put a little mound of dirt up in front of them, and then I would be in my cradle board or my little sleeping area, and they would just very gently tap on the Mother Earth. And I could feel that because I sensed that that was my grandmother's heart beating through her hand. So as we evolved and we started to understand how important sound was to our children, then we started working with all kind of different forms to recreate that mother's heartbeat. And so eventually we came up with all of these different designs. This is one in particular. As we explain this, this can be a representative element of the Mother Earth, or our mother's heart, or our mother's womb. It takes on a lot of different aspects when you look at the designs. Right here in the center, this would be the center of our heart. These strands that come in down from here are strands of energy that goes directly to our heart. Now, the technique is to find out what type of materials will match our heartbeat. And so over the centuries, there were all kinds of different ways and techniques to understand the heartbeat. So in today's world, is that we have a lot more available to us as far as resources, and so we can make these drums very, very quickly now. This particular drum, the hide that is used here, it comes from an elk. This particular drum was made by a woman's hand only. And so I can feel her energy in here, and when I place my hand around her heart, if you will, I can feel her heartbeat when I drum. And so to many people it just may be a skin and a piece of wood which makes the circle, but for me it's energy. It's energy of the person who actually made this item. And so I honor that heartbeat that I've been lended. So again, this is just a representation of how we use energy. So in simple design, as we cut out an elk hide, we soak it in water, stretch it, we make our threads, we put it over the Mother Earth, the circle, or whatever means we use, and then we stretch the hide to get the sound of the heartbeat. And again, we use a drumstick to find that heartbeat. And it's very comforting when you can find that in a sacred item. So in essence, it's not only my energy that's coming through this drum, it's also the essence and the energy of the one who made this drum. So we're working simultaneously together to provide a drum beat of our hearts working together out to you or out to whatever's in that ceremony. So I hope this kind of explains a little bit more about these sacred items that we use. Through our sacred sites. Way back in the ancient days, they understood a science, if you will, or a vibration of ley lines and grid lines. We have no idea how they understood this, but it was, I think the word in today's world is geomancy. They understood that by walking upon the earth, they could feel an energy field. And so as they felt this energy field, they walked around in a circle to pinpoint where is the exact energy being created. It was a conception that we use in today's world of ley lines and, what's the other word I'm looking for? Ley lines and grid lines. So wherever we felt there was a ley line and a grid line, that's where we placed a sacred site, because it had an enormous amount of energy. As we developed the sacred site, we said, okay, this is a massive amount of energy coming here. How can we amplify this energy? So through the introductions of elements, the most powerful energy creator that I can find on this planet is what we call crystals. This is a selenite crystal. Those of you that understand or know about this crystal, there's a single crystal in every line that's in this body, if you will. In this particular crystal here, there may be 1 million strands of single crystals put together. When we offer this energy to the sunlight, as each one of those strands is carrying the sunlight. So this basically is the first fiber optic system that we had upon the planet. So as we create an energy field in our thought, in our heart, is that, okay, we need to bring energy in to help our plant nation or to help our animal nation. Just through that heart energy, we put this up into the sky, up to the sun, to gather its energy, come down through this energy field, this energy generator, if you will. We place it on the Mother Earth, and through the Mother Earth's energy, it is distributed. And so in all of the sacred sites, we have energy fields just like this one. It may not be crystals that are exactly the same like selenite, but there is a form of rocks assembled, high energy rocks, or it could be trees, it could be anything that is an amplifier. So in our sacred sites, they're very, very powerful because they are on a grid line and a ley line. That's the number one principle. But then what we do is we amplify that sacred site. As long as we are continually working with a sacred site, that amperage will be there for us. It will be there for the lands, it will be there for the waters, and on and on and on. But when we move away, say this is a sacred site out in, who knows, maybe, what country we want to pick on? Say in Australia. Say if this was out in a desert. At one time, a long time ago, there was a lot of people that were surrounding the sacred site. Well, as time went on, when they started to leave, the human energy was also needed too to keep this alive. Well, as the humans left this area, the energy wasn't as profound. There's still energy there, but it's not at its optimal generating power, if you will. And so many of the sacred sites go dormant. So this is what we're trying to encourage the Native American people around the world too, is how important our sacred sites truly are. They're generators of energy. And so I'm asking the people who understand this kind of knowledge is to start working with the sacred sites again to bring that generator back to life. So these are some of the ways that we're trying to help our own selves understand energy and how important the sacred sites are. This will bring and help us bring back the energy of that love element that we're talking about. So the stronger our sacred sites become, the stronger we become, obviously, and the stronger everything else becomes that lives in that surrounding area. These are, again, Mother Earth teachings. It's a structure that sometimes we don't even give any thought to. Through the ancient realms, the most powerful medicine that we have here on this particular planet is a very, very simple thing that we use every day, and that is called water. Without the water, obviously nothing lives. So it doesn't take a brain scientist to understand how powerful water truly is. It is the most powerful element that we have on this planet. but we mistreat it. When we mistreat it and we make that water sick, everything that drinks of that water becomes sick. The last part of this information process is about water. When we take care of our water, when we understand the properties of water and how to energize water, everything that drinks of that water will become energized. A very, very simple teaching. In your areas, if you can concentrate or even physically go to the beginning spirit of your water, say for example here in Houston, where does your water come from? There's a big question mark there. We were always told to find out, where does my water come from? I want to go to the beginning source of that water and give it as much energy as I possibly can. So in the lands that I live in, I want the animals to become as strong as they possibly can, and the animals to become as strong as possibly they can, and me to become as strong as I possibly can. And it has to do with energizing the water. But first I need to identify where is the spirit of that water. So I encourage you to find out where your beginning spirit of water comes from and start eliminating the pollution that comes into your home. I want to thank you for this time, and I hope this helps you out better understand what we understand as the Mother Earth teachings. Thank you.